What is surprisingly not scientifically proven? I feel like the majority of Earth's population claim that they banged my mom, but I have yet to see a research about that. Edit. No, I do not need full HD proof. Thank you for your PM. They still haven't done a proper randomized double-blind trial on whether parachute use prevents death when jumping out of airplanes. I'd like to nominate my ex to perform this trial. I'll even push him out of the plane for you. Where do I sign up for this throwing exes out of airplanes experiment? Whether or not humans can mate with other primates. There was a group in Germany in the 40s that was researching this. I can't remember what happened exactly, but they didn't complete the experiment. Is there any unethical experiment that was not attempted by the Nazis? No, we Germans are always very thorough. Russia tried it as well. Supposedly, during the Cold War, Stalin wanted monkey men to fight for them. I guess he got a copy of Wizard of Oz and thought the flying monkeys were a good idea. Apes. They wanted to mix a gorilla with a lady. The difference is that apes don't have tails, which makes it easier for them to go Super Saiyan. Myers-Briggs tests are not really based on anything. People seem to put lots of stock in them, nonetheless. As early as 15 years ago, the term I've heard for it, as well as trying to extract information about employees via their handwriting, is corporate astrology. Cutting salt intake from diet may have zero correlation to heart attack and stroke incidents, and make food taste 100 times worse. Salt and pepper are magical. People get that salt is a vital necessity for life, right? Detoxes / cleanses. GTFO, that's what your liver is for. Give this guy a beer. That's what your liver is for. It clears out toxins. What's a toxin? You know, chemicals. You're going to have to be more specific. Everything is made of chemicals. You eating lunch? Yeah. It's totally chemical free. So good. Neat. Can I have some? Sure. This bowl is full of vacuum. Yup. I'm in pharmacy school and it's surprising how many medications that are out there that we are still not 100% sure why or how it works. The most surprising that I've come across is Tylenol. We know what it's used for and have theories as to how it works, but from a mechanistic point of view we are not entirely positive. The most surprising for me was learning that we don't know how anesthesia works. We can predict results with a great deal of accuracy, but we don't know how it does it. What exactly the Earth's core is made of, and how it works. We know the inner core is solid and the outer core is liquid, and we are pretty confident they are both primarily composed of iron and nickel plus some other element. Edit. We don't know its exact composition as we have never directly sampled it. We don't fully understand how the outer core produces the Earth's magnetic field, and we have no idea why the magnetic field periodically weakens and flips. It's kind of surprising when you realize we have a better understanding of what goes on inside the sun than the Earth. I'm always surprised that we've not really managed to drill down very far into the Earth at all. We've barely made it past the crust, if I remember correctly. Drilling through the crust and beyond is more difficult than getting to Mars. The Russians hold the record with a hole that's 12 kilometers deep, or it used to be. That fish don't feel pain. It's currently a massive debate, as there's evidence to support both sides of the argument. I've never heard one scream or say ouch. Caught a fish last year. The hook got him on the side in the gill area. The dude was wailing. It was the creepiest thing ever. Haven't gone fishing since. Even though it hasn't been scientifically proven, and we won't know for sure until then, it makes sense from a biological standpoint that fish would feel pain, and it would be far more astounding if they do not. It seems that the incentive to claiming that fish don't feel pain is to alleviate the guilt from all the ducked up thing we do to fish. Yep. Fish have a central nervous system. They have nociceptors, nerves made to receive pain signals. They clearly react to harmful stimuli, thrashing wildly when hooked. Even if they don't feel pain, like we think of it, it's pretty clear that getting dragged through the water via a metal spike through their lip is not something they enjoy. Ideal human nutrition. What we have now is a cluster duck of misinformation. The accepted science regarding salt consumption is based mostly on a study in the 60s that was not particularly rigorous and hasn't been replicated. The sugar industry sponsored a bunch of studies to blame fat for our poor health. I'm just going to eat what I enjoy and die young. almost every parenting method, and yes, that includes your favorite ones about overpraising kids or helicopter parenting. There are theories, there are studies, but it is just almost impossible to do these kind of behavioral studies on a large enough group that you eliminate all other correlations. I also feel like, because personalities have such variation, each method probably has benefit for some group of kids. The idea that there is a one-size-fits-all method for everyone is completely ridiculous. Why we have the need to sleep? There is no real scientific explanation for this. Our body doesn't shut down or turn off when we sleep. Everything keeps running, but yet we can die if we don't get enough sleep. A study was done on mice a few years ago that indicated the brain clears away waste while sleeping. That seems to be at least one reason. So sleep is like sea cleaner. It's like deleting your cache. Apparently flossing. Well, it may not be scientifically proven, but have you smelled the food that you pull out of the gaps in your teeth after flossing? Shuts nasty. There is no evidence that sugar causes hyperactivity. In fact, there is evidence that it does not. But look at my kid, he's jumping around all the time. Maybe because he's a kid. Also, most parents don't just cram their kids full of sugary snacks all day. Kids mostly eat large amounts of cake, cookies, and candy during exciting events, Halloween, birthday parties, Christmas, etc. Your kid is jumping around after he ate all that cake because he just turned 6. All his friends are there, you're about to give him presents, and he's at ducking Chuck E. Cheese. The kid could have never even looked at sugar in his life and he'd be bouncing around in that situation. That pie contains every possible sequence of digits. Edit, I meant every finite sequence. You need 8, or any number, of glasses of water a day. I read that the original study said something like you need the equivalent of 8 cups of water, aka 2 liters, a day, but most of it came in the food you ate, so you basically only need a couple of glasses of actual water to supplement what you can't already get from your food. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Most of the studies that support some sort of significant early morning meal are based purely on school-aged children and tied to attention span or academic achievement. There have been very few, if any, studies comparing large versus small breakfast versus intermittent fasting, IF, versus just eat when you're hungry protocols, and none focus on weight loss vs athletic performance or just general health. There's also been almost nothing on what defines part of this complete breakfast as you see in the cereal commercials. Nothing reputable done on high protein, bacon, and eggs versus high carb, cereal, and toast. It's interesting to me that a saying so taken as fact has so little scientific evidence or protocol. It's also possible that a regular breakfast is a sign that a child has a stable home environment, which can be a factor in their performance in school. That homosexuality is genetically inherited. As far as I know, there is no specific gene or group of genes that determine if someone is gay or not. Disclaimer, not saying it's a choice either, but sexuality falls on a spectrum and is influenced by numerous factors. This will be unpopular, but there is very little formal proof that marijuana has all the medicinal benefits claimed. Before reflexively downvoting, realize that I'm not saying it doesn't have benefits, just that there's been scant actual experimental proof that having sass the night before a big game decreases performance for the game. We don't know why or how Earth has such a large moon. The best theory apparently has major flaws still last time I was reading about it. I'm not an expert, but my understanding is that the current body of evidence strongly supports the Mars-sized object struck early Earth hypothesis, and any problems with that hypothesis are probably on the margins. What causes people to sneeze when they look at the sun? Here is a little more info. It is called phatic sneeze reflex, or photoptomosis, or autosomal dominant compelling helio-ophthalmic outburst syndrome, ACHU. It affects 18 to 35% of people in America. It is genetic. Aristotle pondered this the Book of Problems. Injections around the eye can also cause people to sneeze. Other things such as food or sex can cause sneezing. 94% of communication is nonverbal. Aloe vera hasn't been proven to do jack. Everything I know is a lie. I don't care if it doesn't actually help it heal. That shit feels good when you run it on a sunburn. A lot of forensic science is surprisingly unproven, such as no two fingerprints are the same claim you always hear, hair matching analysis myth, polygraphs, lie detectors, matching bite marks. Also, other tools used by law enforcement are just as misleading or unscientific, such as drug sniffing dogs or eyewitnesses. My wife, a researcher at the University of Chicago, likes to say nothing can be scientifically proven, only disproven.